My check, my check. We good?
Yeah, we're good. I can hear you. You hear,
We're good?
hear
Yep.
me?
All right.
I bet.
All right.
Cool. All right. We're good. So welcome in episode 2 of College Guys Talking Ball. Again, my name's Ethan. Got below me my co-host TJ French.
I'm
And
TJ.
today we have a special guest,
Yes,
current
sir.
Young Harris baseball player, one of my best friends. Went to high school together, Mikey Kass. Ready
Yes,
to
sir.
talk some ball. Ready to talk this
Yes,
weekend's
sir, baby.
game. So let's do it.
All right. So most notably, in the time before the last episode, Judge hit his 62 home runs. He did it in Texas, nearly minutes after me and Ethan both said he would not do it before the season's end. And I just wanted to touch real quick on just how remarkable this truly is. In New York, in the pinstripes, one of the most notable records of all time. And Judge answers it, of course. The New York media tries to screw him out of it, and he answers the call. And then it's a great thing for baseball. I'm so glad he did it. And personally, the question that needs to be asked is this the best baseball season ever by a hitter? And I think absolutely. It's so rare that a guy leads a team and so leads a league in so many stats, like home runs, RBIs, runs, on base percentage, slugging, OPS plus, walks, total bases. Most times when we get into big sluggers who have big years, they're usually missing out on, things like the runs or like the walks or on base percentage. Judge, total package, historical year for baseball. And yeah, that's all I got. Great thing.
Along with that, man, huge wild card weekend up ahead. We have a big preview on today's show for you guys. What can you say about Judge, man? Just what a year, what a great year. How lucky we are to get to watch him play. And man, let's move on to Saturday, man. I'll intro a couple of games here. We got Bama A&M. I'm already calling it the NIL war. You saw what happened this summer. Man, Jimbo versus Saban, but as we'll talk about later, this matchup's lost a lot of hype over the past couple of weeks with the way A&M's been performing. You got Georgia Auburn, the Dogs. They get back to Athens. Feels like forever since they played a big time game in Athens, but this really feels like it could be a big game. Hoping to see the Dogs bounce back. As you see, I'll be there. Auburn's playing with desperation, so we'll see. Game day is at Kansas for TCU at Kansas.
Sure.
What a game. What a matchup. What a wacky game day matchup. But then again, as a college football fan, you can't be anything but happy to see a matchup like this on a bigger stage. See some more teams get some more limelight. And the last game we'll go over in 20 minutes or so is Tennessee at LSU. How good is Tennessee? Is Tennessee ready to make that next step, go on the road and beat a big boy? Yet to be seen, yet to be determined. So we'll see.
Yeah, and we certainly have a good slate of games here coming up on Saturday. And I'm going to preview a couple games for you guys on Sunday. As Ethan said, my name's Mikey. First time on the show here. Best boys with these two growing up. Hopefully not the last time on the show, but
not the last.
Certainly won't be.
Yeah. So three games we got coming up. I want to talk about. We got the Cowboys versus the Rams in SoFi Stadium. So battle of two teams who I think have something to prove. We know the Cowboys are sitting at 3-1. Are they going to keep surviving and advancing with Cooper Rush? We know he's 4-0 as a starter. They're 3-1 right now without Dak. How long can they keep this going before Dak gets back to keep them in contention with the NFC? So we know the Eagles are 4-0. So are the Rams, and on the other side, the Rams a serious threat to repeat? Can they prove that by taking down the Cowboys? We'll see. We'll see on Sunday at 4:25. So next step I want to talk about, we got the Eagles and the Cardinals. Are the Eagles legit? Like I just said, 4-0. Paper says so. But can they take care of this Cardinals team that many thought preseason was going to be a force to be reckoned with? And we don't know what the Cardinals are. They're a big question mark, squeaking out a game against the Panthers last week. We'll see. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And lastly, the game of the week that I think, Sunday Night Football, two high-powered offenses. Got Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, two powerhouses. We'll go over that one in a little bit.
All right. As promised, big time wild card preview. Like I said, on College Guys Talking Ball, we love football, we love basketball, but we're going to give baseball some love on this podcast as well. So, TJ, let's get you started, man. First matchup,
Right.
You got
First
Seattle,
matchup.
You got Seattle, you got Toronto. Give me some
First
thoughts.
matchup. Seattle is going to the Rogers Center. Pretty crazy, dude. It's been 21 years. All three of us none of us are 21 yet. So, this is a huge thing. And of
I mean,
course,
depends on what. Yes, people in Athens.
and of course, they get
or the bars in
Toronto, who of course is hungry. In the first game, I think it's tomorrow, we got Castillo, who's been great for the Mariners. Electric fastball, large amount of strikeouts versus Manoah. And Manoah's also been magical. 16-7 with a 2.24. It's pretty good. Who do we like in this and why?
I think Seattle brings a lot of heart into this matchup. They kind of remind me of the Braves teams from a couple of years back when they first got taste of postseason. You can see they've got arms, they've got players, but they've got some young guys who are unproven. And I think that they do take a game in the series, but ultimately, I think the Jays win in 3. I think Manoah pitches his tail off tomorrow. I think that Toronto takes game 1, Seattle takes game 2, but in game 3, when you get a little further into that Mariners starting rotation, a little further into that bullpen, it's going to be hard to stop, red hot Bichette right now, along with Vladdy, Teoscar, some of those guys who have some big time at bats and big time moments. So I've got the Jays in 3.
I got the Mariners in 3. So Seattle's going to Toronto. And I think they're playing inspired baseball in the back of Julio Rodriguez. The city of Seattle, they need it. It's been 21 years, as you know, and obviously they're not playing in Seattle, but I think that the Mariners have that vibe coming from Seattle. And I do think that the Blue Jays are going to take game 1, but you're going to get deeper, like you said, in the Mariners rotation. And we're going to see a Mariners win in game 2 and a Mariners win in game 3. And they're going to go and get an opportunity to play at T-Mobile Park and give their fans what they've been wanting for 21 years. So
on the road.
Yep.
That's hot from the guest.
Yep.
First take.
I'm gonna stick with Ethan here for sure. I like the Jays here just because I think their starting pitching may have a little more depth. Robbie Ray's been a little shaky this year, coming off a Cy Young season. And I mean, did we forget like Vladdy, Bichette? Bichette had a great year. Vladdy just came off second in MVP. These guys are hungry. And they play that brand of baseball that it's hard to beat in the postseason. They've been striking out a lot less, hitting more homers. I'm going to go with
Toronto.
The Jays in 3.
Toronto in 3. So we got
I'm
Ethan and TJ
here.
Toronto in 3. We got Mikey Mariners in 4.
I might be a little biased. I want to see Julio Rodriguez again. I want to see.
I would love to see him play farther as well.
It's my bias there.
All right, Mike, what we got next?
All right.
Man?
So next preview, I guess what many are probably considering to be the highlight of this wild card round, Mets Padres. The Mets are 101 win season and they're in second place. That's Mets fans are not happy right now.
Brutal.
Coming off a huge, even the team. I mean, I saw Buck Showalter was talking about the team. The morale's not high in that locker room right now, or at least it wasn't when they got off that plane going into that national series. Obviously, they swept. The Nationals are a AAA team, but we're not going to talk about that. But the Mets, big letdown. So they get swept by the Braves. But either way, they still win 101 games. They've had proven success with DeGrom, Scherzer, and Bassett all year. We know that they're not a high power hitting offense. They're going to score their runs. They're going to string together their hits. But we know that they ride off their pitching. And now they're facing off against what many consider to be a super underwhelming Padres team all year. They make this blockbuster trade at the deadline. Everyone's like, oh my God, this is the team to beat. This is the team to beat. Got Soto, Bell, Machado, Darvish, Musgrove, and they just go out there and you haven't heard about them since. And, but with that same token, do you want to see Juan Soto in the playoffs? Do you want to see Manny Machado, who sneakily finished the year at hitting 298? Do you want to see that in the playoffs? I don't know. But also for the Mets, they've lost Starling Marte. A lot of Mets fans think that's their spark plug. And how vulnerable is the bottom of the lineup going to be in the playoffs? You saw that they're very top heavy down the stretch. If they weren't getting production from Lindor and Alonso, nothing much was happening. We know McNeil's slotted in somewhere between 1 and 4. He's going to hit 330. He's going to get you 2 hits a game, but he's not going to hit the home runs like you need in the postseason. So the question is, can they string together the hits against everybody's A stuff in October? That's what we're going to see. The Padres, like I said, they have those guys in their lineup, and I don't are they going to wake up? We know the last time Juan Soto was in the playoffs, 2019, they won a World Series.
That's
and he went nuclear.
We know.
He went nuclear. So you don't want to be the team that he goes nuclear against. And
hitting 230 though for the year.
He is.
thing
He and
about
only
it.
and only
It's
and
like,
only 6 homers since he got to San Diego.
yeah,
So I mean that's
not
not good.
good.
Not good. But I
Yeah.
will say it's making for an interesting matchup. But I do think that the Padres are going to squeak one out. They're not going to win the series. They're going to squeak one out and force us 1-3 because of the letdown the Mets are coming off of. But I think the Mets are going to wake up. They're going to go out there. DeGrom's going to shove. Scherzer's going to shove, and they're going to be beating the Dodgers in the NLDS.
All right, it's pretty bold. For
Not
this
bold.
sake, though,
The Mets are. Oh, you think they're going to sweep? The Mets are winning.
I mean, I'll take Mets in 3. I'll take Mets in 3.
Yeah.
It's 3 games, 3 night games in New York. Like, you can't really beat that. Mets fans
it's
are going to be
it's
riled
wild.
up.
Yep.
I mean, there's not going to be a Padres fan for hundreds of miles.
No.
So I give the benefit of the doubt to them. I mean, like, guys, we forget they won 100 games. Like you said, Mikey, they had the division till the last day.
Literally, yep.
And then there's some news today that comes out how they may potentially start Jacob DeGrom in game 3, hypothetically, if they win game 1 with Scherzer. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's a bold. I will say, I don't think they should do that. I think if I'm Showalter, you go DeGrom, Scherzer, Bassett if need. There's no reason to do that. You don't want to put yourself in a game 3 winner take all. Like you see what happened against the Braves. You can go out there and get 3 barrels. He strikes out 12, gives up 3 homers.
And so, I'll say that as well. You don't play with your food in the postseason. Nope. So Scherzer's scheduled to start game 1 against Darvish. So see how that goes.
Bold play.
I think, boys, I'm gonna have to go against the grain here. I mean,
wow.
Y'all watch that.
Oh boy.
Y'all watch that. Y'all watch
Dude.
that Braves Mets series, and you saw how it went. They played a 3-game set, right? This technically wasn't a wild card. They're going to play 3 regardless. But what happened in the first 2 games? No offensive production from the New York Mets. And here's
played in Atlanta, though.
But
they
here's,
Atlanta,
here's where the issue is.
They played in Atlanta.
Behind him.
Snell is pitching his tail off. Darvish is pitching his tail off. Juan Soto is a postseason player. You can throw the stats away because everybody's batting .000 right now.
You're right.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Trent Grisham hits a big homer. The Padres over the top. So I've got the Padres in 2 games. Wow. We'll see how this one plans out, but it's all dads this series. All dads.
I will say, if you're taking the dads, they are getting swept in 3 games against Los Angeles. I think that's
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. We'll talk about that next week, but that's fine with me.
Yeah, we can get to that next week. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, next series. We got Cardinals, Phillies, and I've seen a lot of people saying this is going to be the series to watch, and I'm not seeing it, man. I'm not seeing it. The Phillies just absolutely stumbled their way into the postseason. They shouldn't, in my opinion, even made the playoffs. The Brewers were just that much worse in the last week and a half, just losing game after game to the Marlins and the Diamondbacks for the Brewers to let the Phillies sneak in. So I mean it's just brutal to watch. They play terrible defense. They have question marks all over the bullpen, but the Phillies do have a couple good arms that can give them a chance. But the Cardinals had a great year, man. They locked up that division, the NL Central, early in September, and I mean it's hard to argue with those bats with Arenado and Goldschmidt, with 2 MVP caliber players on that roster this year, and the rest of their guys still provide decent enough firepower down the lineup. And it's like, are the Phillies going to show up? You don't know. A lot of those guys are question marks. I know TJ's going to say something about Schwarber hit 45 homers, but Schwarber hits 210. So if he doesn't get a hit, he's striking.
True.
So they have a lot of question marks, and I don't think there's Hoskins. He's another guy, 215, 220. He hit. I didn't look at the stats. I'm not going to say exactly, but he's a homer or strikeout guy. That's what a lot of their lineup is, and they don't play good defense, and that's not good in October. So I'll go ahead and say Cards sweep this one easy in 2. There's nothing much to it. I just think the Cardinals are simply flat out the better team, and that's all there is to it. That's all I got.
Okay.
What do you think, Ethan?
I like that, Mikey. As you guys know, you 2 know, and some of my friends know. Now I'm telling the world, Ryan Helsley is my favorite relief pitcher in the entire big leagues. I mean, that guy is throwing 103 mile an hour from the freaking bucket, man. He's bringing it from the back
here.
And he's telling you what's coming. He's my favorite reliever in baseball. I think personally, you see Helsley 2 nights in a row on the back of that bullpen. You've got those veterans. They've got some experience in the playoffs. As we all know, they've got several World Series rings together. I don't think that the Cardinals are going to win the NL, nor can they win the NL. But this series specifically against a Phillies team who's not a great, like we said, defensive ball club, and not really a great offensive ball club once you get past Harper. I would even say Schwarber's a good offensive ball player, but past that, you've got Bohm, who's going to, slap a single through the right side every now and then and get his knocks. But the rest of those guys, they're not going to be able to keep up with PED, Pujols, Molina,
Oh, come on.
that lineup.
Molina?
Goldschmidt.
Dude, Molina. You
Dude,
said Molina before Goldschmidt, bro.
But no,
And
I'm talking veterans here. I'm talking veterans
Dude,
here, and then you go to the meat of their lineup. Just let me finish. You go to the meat of the lineup. You got Goldschmidt. You got Arenado. You've got some guys with some postseason experience, like I said, and you've got some MVP caliber players. So you got Helsley 2 nights in a row. Cardinals sweeping 2.
Sorry, I forgot to say Harper. I did not mention him. He can't be a one-man wrecking crew. That's all I say. I forgot to mention.
And dude, I totally agree. The thing is that bothers me is I think we forget that they do have Harper. They do have Nola.
Yeah.
They have Wheeler. Wheeler and Nola are guys that can go 7 innings strong. And despite their horrific bullpen and horrific defense, those guys save them a little bit. Nola's going to keep guys off the base paths, and Wheeler's going to strike guys out. Simple as that. And I think they got enough on offense. I mean, Realmuto's really stepped it up. Hoskins, Bohm. I mean, they do have that sputter ability. But I'm going to take them here that they're not going to have that sputter ability. They go in to St. Louis, and they take it in 3.
Okay.
A little hot.
We got Philly. We got Philly.
A little hot.
I like the diversity on the takes here. I like it.
I mean, dude, their pitching is good. I think I've been rooting for them. Hopefully they can show up one time, but who knows? All right, let's move on to the Guards and Rays. No one really cares too much about this matchup.
Playing that game.
We're going to cover it, though. We're going to cover it for sure. They go on the road here, and they're going to try and beat the Guardians. Guardians have been pesky all year. People have been trying to count them out, saying the Twins are going to win the division. Obviously, the White Sox were heavy favorites there. The Guardians are led by great pitching, good defense. They don't strike the ball out at all. They don't strike out at all. They're the best team, lowest strikeouts per game. I think they have good starting pitcher. If Bieber can kind of resemble his Cy Young form, that would be very helpful for them. And we know Tristan McKenzie has been kind of spotty, hit or miss all year. But if he shows that high strikeout potential, I can see the Rays striking out. And Ethan, I just want to point out, so something that we've talked about with the Red Sox, how they've missed out on those big home runs, and that's why their offense this year has been kind of lacking.
Schwarber. Yeah.
Well, you forget that the Rays missed out on Zunino and Brandon Lau, both season-ending injuries, combined 73 home runs last year. It hurts them. I'm going to take the Guardians here for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And first thing I want to say, I know it's because of the new postseason structure and they've got a lot of wild card series this weekend. But shame on the MLB for a 12:07 start time on Friday.
It's brutal,
man.
I'm not even going. I might not even be up.
But if anyone, anyone were to play in it,
if any series deserves to be at that time, it's that one. But either way, it's playoff baseball. Shame on them. But I'll be watching. But I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Cleveland in 3. Rays also, just like the Phillies, kind of stumbled down the stretch. They scored 1 run or fewer in the past 7 of the 10 games. That's horrendous. And 2 of those were against Cleveland about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And I just like the offense side of the ball, like TJ said, for Cleveland. They got the bats. The Rays don't really have those names. The Rays have the pitching. I don't know. It's really the battle of who can be the better Rays, because the Cleveland Guardians resemble the Rays of the past couple of years, and they play the same style of baseball, low salary. I want the Guardians in 3 here. I like Cleveland better. I think they're going to take it in 3. It'll be close. They're very similar teams, and I just think the bats of Cleveland will come through here at the end, and they don't strike out a lot. They'll take a series win here in 3.
Quick note here. The Guardians actually, or the Rays actually spend $30 million more than the Guardians. The Guardians payroll is way lower. Ethan, anything to say?
That's a pretty wild stat considering what we know about Tampa. But like I said, I guess on every series we'll have no, togetherness on these. I guess that's kind of a crappy word to say. But I'm going against the grain here. I'm going Tampa. I'm a guy that believes in postseason experience. I'm a guy that believes, hey, man, 2 years ago, the Rays are in the World Series. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, they're a postseason team last year, and they're a postseason team again. This is a ball club that we don't believe in. Me and TJ have never believed in until They make us believe in them.
right.
Arozarena has shown you he can set a postseason record for homers, and we'll see what they give us. But I'm going to go postseason experience, although I do love the Guardians. I love their pitching staff. But until they show me, I'm going Rays.
All right.
So,
Fair enough.
We've got some college football here
Yep.
today.
Swing to Saturday.
Let's get straight to it. Ethan.
all right, let's do it.
It looks like A&M's going to Bama. What do you think about this?
Man, we actually, it's funny for the viewers. We all went to high school with Zach Calzada. We all saw how that went last year. Calzada comes in the game and he's the hero against the Tide. Here's the difference. That game was at home. Nobody expected much out of A&M that entire season as far as playoff expectations, things of that nature. This season, this offseason, Jimbo Fisher puts his foot in his mouth. Saban puts his foot in his mouth a little bit. They go back and forth talking about NIL, what's good, what's bad. A&M bought their players, Saban says. Fisher comes back at him. You're starting to think as a college football fan, man, this could be a tight, great matchup in Bryant-Denny. Fast forward a couple of months, you're looking at a 2-loss team facing an Alabama team who just, I don't know if y'all watched last weekend, but like we said, demolished the Razorbacks.
Dominated.
It was close
Dominated.
for a second, and then you have a backup run, 60, 70 yards, and take care of the game. So I've got Bama in this game. I've actually got Bama covering the spread. It's a large spread. Last time I've looked at it, it was 24. May have a little line movement here, but I've got Bama covering the spread at home. And to be honest, boys, I think this could get real ugly, real quick. So
okay, quick note again. I feel like we may have some togetherness on these takes. Mikey,
for college football, yeah, for college football, at least.
For this game, at least.
Yeah. Bama by as much as you can give me, dude. I mean, the Aggies are they've been terrible. I mean, come on, man. Desmond Howard put him in his national championship game before the season started. Come on, what are we doing here? They're terrible. They're terrible. They don't have a quarterback. They're not good. You get beat by App State. Come on, they've just been bad. I want Bama by literally like 100. I mean, they're going to cover easily. They might win by 40. Like, it's going to be bad. An interesting note before I hand it off to TJ is that since Jimbo Fisher has gone to A&M, the man that he replaced, Kevin Sumlin, he has the same record through 53 games. They're both 37-16.
Yeah.
Now ask yourself, where's Sumlin
today?
Say
about Jimbo? Who's to say about Jimbo?
Yeah, and what
gets all the hype, all the money.
You're giving him all the money, and and his buyout's like $90-something million right now. So you're looking at just in my opinion, a failure. You can't come in and be 37-16 as the one of the top coaches in college football. So I mean, that's all I got to say.
Recruits that
oh yeah,
and have other
best recruiting class in the country. It's eyewash is what it is. You go ahead, TJ. What's your thoughts?
In trouble for a couple of years for sure. Ethan watched the Bama game last week through and through. Their backup Milroe looked great. And I mean, let's be honest, he's way better than whoever the Aggies are going to throw out there. I mean, do any of us even know? I don't think so. Bama's at home. Bryant-Denny, Saturday night. Going to be 100,000 people there. Taking Bama by 45.
45 points.
Also,
Aggies brought in King last week. Johnson's a little banged up. We're going to have to check on that as we get closer to the game. So,
all right, Ethan.
All right. So my personal favorite of the week. I'll be in attendance for this one. This one, Georgia versus Auburn in Sanford Stadium. How will the Dogs rebound from a lackluster but victorial performance against Missouri on the road last week? How will they rebound? Personally, I've watched a lot of Georgia football over the years. I thought after game one, we won 49-3. I thought, man, you try not to tell yourself we got it in the bag because, there's 14, 15 games ago, but you felt really good about Georgia, and that feeling is essentially fading a little bit. As you can see at the polls, they've gone up and down the polls from, I guess, 3-1 to 2, 3-2 to 1 to 2. So the entire country is kind of feeling similar as what I'm saying right now. But that being said, Stetson and the Dogs play great at home. I know I'm going to be loud. I know who's with me is going to be loud, and I know that stadium is going to be rocking. So I've got the Dogs. To say they cover a 30-point spread is kind of wacky because I've seen them not cover spreads against lesser opponents of their nature. But I do think Georgia does take care of this game. I think the crowd plays a big role. As you can see, Harson's been a problem at Auburn. He's got to get it together. He's playing with desperation. And anytime you're playing with desperation against the Dogs, they're smelling blood in the water. Several turnovers by Auburn's quarterback. Georgia causes havoc. They win this game by 20 points plus, and I am having a great night in Athens Saturday night.
I mean, Deep South's oldest rivalry for sure. Harsin, I mean, this could be the nail in the coffin for him. I mean, forget, covering the spread. The spread's 30. I got to say the Dogs are going to cover that. 3:30 in Athens. It's lit for sure. Ethan, you'll be there. Maybe you can give us some good reports of how the stadium is. I don't think you've ever been. So
I've been going to game sauce too, TJ.
I mean, this one's going to be ugly quick. I got Georgia covering that 30 in the third quarter. Many aren't going to believe me after what happened in that Mizzou game, but I think that's kind of a wake-up call. And my main thing is what the Auburn offensive lineman said this week about how he thinks they could dominate Georgia up front. That's bulletin board material.
Bold.
Dogs by 30 in the third quarter. You're going to see Carson Beck in there at some point. All I got to say. Dogs by a lot.
That's a good thing. Good thing for him.
Carson Beck's my favorite quarterback because when he's in there, we're winning by a lot. Next game, TCU at Kansas. TJ's favorite. One of his, maybe the Georgia game's his favorite, but this probably his favorite game of the week. Go ahead, TJ.
Yeah, definitely my favorite game of the week. Game day starts at 7. I'm sure none of us will be up, but great thing for Lawrence. 9. Okay, so good thing for Lawrence, Kansas. They've never had it. They don't have much there. Good to see the fans hype. But let's not get lost in the shuffle, guys. Kansas, not really good team. They beat Iowa State, Houston, West Virginia, Tennessee Tech. Not very good teams. TCU, without a doubt, has a higher competition level after they just whooped Oklahoma. And by far, the best part about this game for me is one of these teams is going to win, which is just great for both of them. TCU has been, kind of flirting with top 10, in the last 10 years or so, but Kansas never, or it's been a long time, 15 plus years. I love to see them flirt with the top 10, but I got to go TCU here. They're going to advance, be the next, make it to the next round of no loss teams.
Gotcha. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that result, but I'm personally a little torn on that result. I think we need to talk a little bit more about Kansas quarterback Jalen Daniels. He is an example of a recruit slipping through the cracks of this new age NIL 24/7 sports system. Jalen Daniels is a heck of a football player, and not just because he's playing for Kansas. I guarantee you he'd probably be the starting quarterback for a lot of people's favorite teams. 11 touchdowns, 1 picks, good for the highest quarterback rating in the FBS. I think he performs again. I think that Kansas crowd, they know how to get around a team. They've been doing it for basketball for years.
That's true.
So I think Kansas, like I said, I was torn, but if I'm going to pick a side, I'm going to Jayhawks at home here, making the home fans happy before basketball season, which is a rarity in Lawrence, Kansas.
Yeah, and I love what Kansas is doing. It's new excitement for the program, and I want to take them so bad. I've been calling them America's team in our group chat. I think they are. I think everybody's rooting for them. They've been terrible, and but I can't do it. TJ's right. The wins that they have, those 4 wins, are against bad teams, and TCU just absolutely manhandled Oklahoma. So I got to go against what I want to take, or at least what I feel like I want to happen, and it's going to be TCU by a good amount. They're going to go in there and they're going to win by 2 scores, and it's not what I want, but it's the realistic option I think here. So,
and I've got Kansas. I've got Kansas, but I could see that happening as well.
Yeah. So next up we got
a big SEC matchup here.
Big SEC matchup. We got a Tennessee and LSU game where it's interesting. Baton Rouge at noon. Line set at Tennessee -3. In my opinion, Tennessee does not deserve the ranking of 8. I think it's Hendon Hooker biasy. They have I'm pretty sure statistically the best offense in the country right now. But I think that's the biasy there. Their defense just isn't that good. They gave up 450 yards to a mediocre Florida team, and they almost got beat at the end there at home. Got scary at the end. LSU's offense hasn't been much to talk about. Their defense has been pretty good, so I think it'll be the best defense that Tennessee has seen so far. And I think they're going to give Tennessee some trouble. And Vegas thinks this is a coin flip game, and I don't know. I just think Tennessee is they're just a little bit better. They're better than the spread says in this one, and I think it's going to be close early. Hendon Hooker is going to take over late. He's going to give Tennessee a 10-point win. I'm going to go with 34-24 Tennessee in Baton Rouge.
Well, as a Georgia fan, it hurts to say this, but I think Tennessee's passing offense is a little bit too much. I think they're going to be able to score some points. The problem here for LSU is the matchup. LSU can't throw the ball and match up with Tennessee. They can't win in a shootout. They don't have a quarterback that's efficient throwing the football as efficient as Hendon Hooker is, which few quarterbacks are. I think Tennessee wins this game, even though they're on the road, and they pull this one out probably 7 to 10 points, like Mikey said. I think it's all Vols. As much as it hurts me to say, I don't think LSU's home field makes that big of a difference. Tennessee is the better team, and they win this football game.
Especially at noon. It's not prime time in Death Valley. It's noon. Are those students getting up for that? I don't know.
I don't really have much here. It's gonna be noon. Kansas game's at noon. Probably tune into that a little bit.
Yeah.
See what happens there.
Yeah. So we'll
all right.
We'll keep it rolling. We'll keep it rolling. Go
let's
to NFL.
switch over to NFL.
Should be a fun Saturday. Let's move to NFL.
We got a big slate here. Starting with Dallas
Sunday.
and the Rams.
We got Dallas and the Rams. Like I said, clock is ticking. How long until Dak Prescott gets back? And I think when he gets back, as long as the Cowboys can keep surviving and advancing, they're going to be a threat in the NFC. But this is a big test. Prescott's nearing return. They've heard he's been throwing a little bit, but they want him to be completely healthy, throw him for a week before they get him back at QB1. So can Cooper Rush win another football game for these Cowboys? He's undefeated as a starter. I don't know about this one, though. I think this is where his run comes to end. The Rams, they've been pretty good against the run this year. They're only giving up 92 yards per game. It's inside the top 10. Rush is going to have to make some throws that I don't think he's had to make so far in these couple starts he's had. So I mean, Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, he has. Don't
you clearly weren't watching him play the Giants. But I'll digress.
Come on.
He did have a few good throws in that game.
He's making throws. I just don't know if he has to isolate and be the difference maker if the run game gets shut down. So that's where I'm going with this one. I think Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp, they're going to bounce back after the loss they just had. And the line set at 5.5. It's a close one. I think the Rams are going to sneak this one out 23-14. It's going to be a great game. I mean, it's always a good game when you got the Cowboys playing at 4:00. That's always an American game right there. I mean, it's
the Giants are 3-1 though, Mikey, and the Rams are 2-2. So
3-1.
I'll go ahead and say that
Giants are fake, man. I'll say as a fan. But go ahead.
You got Giants and Cowboys, by the way.
So I can go ahead and agree with you that the Giants are fake. And
I
agree with you on the Rush points as well. I think Dallas is a very solid defense. Definitely going to keep him in this game for a while, probably to the end, where usually something happens to result in the win or loss. As for the Cooper Rush, quarterback controversy, drama, whatever. Dallas has some tougher teams coming up in the second half of the season. It works against teams like the Giants, the Commanders, shaky Bengals team. And I think that they're definitely going to come out this
defending
week.
AFC champ, Bengals.
The defending AFC champs for sure. And the thing with Cooper Rush is just not converting enough promising drives into touchdowns. As I've got noted here, Cowboys have 4 field goals from 20 to 29 yards and then 4 from 40 plus. This isn't good. This means they're stalling out 20, 30-yard line. As I know, because I've watched the Cowboys, every week for pretty much my entire life. The thing with Dak Prescott, he converts those drives into touchdowns, and that's really a difference for me.
I think in this game, I like Dallas's identity. Currently, I hate the Rams' identity. They don't look like a team that just won the Super Bowl, but how often have we seen teams have that hangover that we're seeing from LA this year? So, as we touched on Tuesday's episode, the Rams kind of got manhandled by the Niners, but I think that in saying that, I don't think that the Cowboys have enough to beat the Rams on the road, if I'm not mistaken, correct? They're on the road.
Yep.
And I love Rush. I've argued with TJ for game after game about Cooper Rush, but he's probably correct about the Dak Prescott needing him to win a big game. They haven't beat a team with the talent level of the Rams yet. I've got the Rams winning this game 17-10. They haven't shown me enough offensively for me to even say they score 20 plus. Wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I do need to see it out of them. But that being said, my confidence level isn't super high on the Rams covering 5.5, but I think they do, and I think they come out with a victory.
Yep. All right. Next game here, we got Eagles at the Cardinals. The Eagles are sitting at 4-0, perfect record so far. And it begs the question, are they legit as that 4-0 record says? And for now, my answer is yes. They have a great offense right now. And I think that the team to beat in the NFC East, obviously, Cowboys, no Dak Prescott for the time being. Their most impressive win, 24-7 man. Yeah, 24-7 manhandling over the Vikings in week 2. The Eagles right now, second best total offense for if we look at it from yards per game, and 4th best for facing off points per game. And the more I look at the Cardinals, the more I want to just throw up. they laid an egg in week 1 against Mahomes. They had a gutsy win in week 2 against the Raiders, come back win in OT. But that Raiders team, the more we see how really mediocre bad are they, we don't know. They lose to the Rams, and then they horrendous showing against the Panthers. They almost lost that game. They ended up winning. They haven't showed me anything that I like that tells me they can beat this 4-0 high-powered offense Eagles team. The Cardinals offense has just been going out there and throwing duds up. So Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler, they got to show me something. Yep. I'm not liking it. Eagles win by more than the spread at 5. I got Eagles 28-20 over the Cardinals.
I agree, Mikey. Kingsbury was never a good coach at Texas Tech, gets the job at Arizona, chokes away some big-time record advantages. They get to week 8, and they look like the best team in the world. This year, they ain't even going to get to week 8 looking good at all. You got Eagles winning this game big. You're looking 2 touchdown plus. Baby Kyler Murray ain't going to make no play.
Too far. It's the NFL. It's the NFL, man.
It's the NFL.
Yeah,
Like Mikey said, though, Cardinals, very average. But they've beaten who they should have. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Panthers. They got throttled by the Chiefs, which that's all right. And then they – so the Eagles are going to the desert here. If Kyler can make a few plays, I think they can stay in this game. Pretty unlikely, but we'll see.
Not seen it.
Yeah. We'll see.
On to the matchup of the week.
Matchup of the week. I'm going Sunday Night Football. You got Lamar versus Joe Burrow. Not much explained to do there. 2 high-powered offense. The Bengals haven't really been high-powered so far. They've been held to 23 points per game, middle of the pack in the NFL. But I think this is where they show that they can be. The Ravens giving up 425 yards per game coming in this week. I think the Bengals take advantage of that. But Lamar and the Ravens totally capable of firing back. I got this game being a shootout. They're both 2-2. Got something to prove. Prime time's provided some great games so far this year. Ravens right now at -3. I really think this is a true coin flip. And first time on the show so far that I'm picking somebody who is as an underdog. So but I'm going to take Bengals outright. I think they're going to shoot this one out. They're going to win 33-31 in prime time. It's going to be a great game.
Great points here, Mikey. Certainly the biggest game of the week. Mine as well. With Lamar being, one of the MVP front runners, and a sluggish Ravens defense and a horrible secondary. I'll be a little bit bold here and say the Ravens get up big, 14-21 points before giving it all up to Cincy. And then the Ravens at home, they get a big stop and they win the game 27-24.
I love Baltimore. As you saw in Tuesday's episode, they're actually a top 3 NFL team in my eyes. Baltimore wins this game by 7 points behind their home crowd. Lamar is too much on prime time. The Bengals have looked sloppy this year so far. Not that I don't think they're a good football team. I just think the Ravens are a top 5 football team in the NFL. I need them to win to stay in my top 3, but I've got Baltimore. I got them covering -3, and they're going to win by 7 points at home.
Yep. All right, last section. Let's hear the props. Let's hear it.
We're going to call this section real quick before we end. Prop to pop. We're going to find a prop over under lock. Mine personally, Baker Mayfield. Shout out our good buddy Isaiah Wright. Under 18.5 pass completions. 3 out of 4 games, he has sailed under 18 pass completions. He's going up against a Niners defense who looks hungry. They look like a bunch of savages going to get the football. They're going to come after Baker. He's going to, shake in his boots. I wouldn't even be surprised if something happens to where, somebody else comes in the football game. But I got Baker under 18.5. That is my prop to pop.
I'll stay with the same trend here with the under. I'm going to go Luis Castillo under 5.5 strikeouts. I think he's going to, like we were talking about earlier, he's going up to Durando. The Jays are going to touch him up a little bit, and they're going to make him work, resulting in him, maybe coming out in the 5th, maybe 4th inning. And I think they're going to touch him up a little. He's not going to get those strikeouts.
Yep. And a PSA, I would never gamble NCAA. This is just for the purpose of the show, not gambling. I just for the purpose of the show. So I'm going with the over. You guys had unders. Going over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Justin Herbert against the Browns. 3 out of 4 weeks, he's had more than 1 passing touchdown. Love it. He's going to throw 2 or more. You would take it even more than that, but that's what I got. Justin Herbert over 1.5.
All right, how much time we got, Ethan?
We got less than a minute. So.
Got a shout out to Shohei Ohtani. Yep. This guy is a unicorn of unicorns. You have Giannis, you have LeBron, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have Tom Brady, the biggest names in sports, and then you have Shohei Ohtani. He's in a league of his own. Listen to these numbers: 166 innings pitched, a 2.33 ERA, and 220 strikeouts to go along with 275 batting average, 35 homers, and 95 RBIs. That's incredible. That's an MVP caliber hitting season and a Cy Young Award pitching season. Shohei,
Yep,
you
yes,
are
sir.